Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Daryl Urbanski, your host as always. And today we are joined by a returning guest and good friend of mine, Eram Saeed. Eram is a transformational life coach, entrepreneur, and founder of the global tele-summit, The Life Reawakened, and now Jamali Love, where she's the world's #1 coach for Muslim women. With her daughter, Natasha, they empower high-performing professional and entrepreneurial Muslim women around the world. With a unique blend of emotional intelligence training, Islamic principles, and modern coaching techniques, Eram empowers high-performing Muslim women to achieve clarity, confidence, and abundance. Her journey from adversity, navigating abuse, failed marriages, and bankruptcy to building a 7-figure business and a global movement is a testament to her resilience and vision, all of which I have witnessed firsthand across many years. Passionate about helping women break barriers and step into leadership, Eram inspires with her message, when faith meets courage, extraordinary outcomes follow. I've asked her to join us here today to share her story and help us discover our own paths to empowerment. So Eram, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Oh my God, I'm great, Daryl. It's always wonderful to talk to you, to see you, chit chat.
I
I'm
know,
doing great.
I know.
Thank you.
We're long conversation friends. So this fits. We just had to hit record and we already talked for 20 minutes before we even got this started. But for people that don't know, we've already done, I think, 2, maybe 3 interviews with you already in the past. But for people that don't know, I already mentioned a little bit before. Can you talk a little bit about, I guess, your journey having immigrated from Pakistan to the United States? And what was that like? When did you do that? Let's start there. When did you get over to the United States?
Yeah, that was, oh my God, seems like a century ago, but that was not, it was in 1994. I
Hmm.
was 22 years old and I got married. Like a lot of women from my country got married. My husband was a Pakistani who went to UT Austin, lived in Austin, Texas. So I moved to the United States in 94
Hmm.
and thinking that I was escaping Pakistan so that I could pursue my dream of doing an MBA from UT Austin. And this was the only way I could do it. And that dream got shattered. It was unfortunately an abusive marriage, which ended in divorce after 8 years. And I had Natasha from that marriage. And then I quickly, soon after that, I think about a year and a half later, I married my second husband. By that time, I was living in Dallas, Texas. I met him here and I married him. That marriage also was abusive, ended in physical violence. I had another daughter. And this would be around 2009.
Hmm.
And not only now did I go through a second divorce, but also bankruptcy. I had to file bankruptcy. I had 4 different lawsuits going on pretty much simultaneously. My divorce, my custody of my children, and then my divorce attorneys sued me for lack of payment, although they knew very well that the divorce was still going on. So they sued me. And in all of these cases, I was not represented because I had no money. So it was one of the most difficult periods of my life. And what happened, Daryl, was that by that time I had started to say, something is not right. This is not the way I want to live my life. And
Hmm.
I was reading a book, and you know how sometimes one book or one sentence can change your life. So
Yes.
I can't even remember. This was Debbie Ford's book called Spiritual Divorce. And I was reading that, and there was this one thing she said in the book, which was, if there are certain patterns that keep repeating in your life, look at them carefully and find the most common denominator. Of
Hmm.
course, she was a very wise woman and she knew what she was talking about, that somebody who would examine their life that way would most naturally just come to one conclusion, and that is the most common denominator is me, right? The person who this keeps happening to. And that was, it gave me pause because until that time, I had just thought of myself as a victim of circumstances. This happened to me, then this happened to me. And that made me realize that perhaps if I could take responsibility,
Hmm.
that I could stop this cycle of destruction. I could stop this cycle of oppression. And so I was open to learning. Okay, how do I do that? I want to learn. So I
Hmm.
started listening to tele-summits. So they were really new at that time. I'm talking about 2008, 9. And I would spend hours every day listening to these telesummits because there were people who were wise, who were smart. They would share their experiences. They had a lot of spiritual knowledge. And these were positive messages of hope, which is what I desperately needed at that time. And it slowly began to change the way I perceived reality. And then I remember I saw this promotion from someone. I used to listen to his telesummits a lot. And he was teaching this course on how to create a telesummit business. And I was like, oh my God, wouldn't this be awesome? I already spend 4 to 6 hours a day listening to this stuff, but somebody can pay me money to do this. How cool is that? So I took my bottom dollar, literally invested everything to buy that program. And I still remember when he got on the phone with me because it was a high ticket item. So he was going to try to sell it to me, of course, but I was already sold.
Right.
And I said to him, this is my situation. So he felt bad that she has 2 daughters. And he said, look, here, I'm going to be truthful. If you don't have money beyond 45 days, nobody's been able to launch a summit in less than 6 months. There's a lot of technology involved. There's a lot of stuff you need to learn. How are you going to survive beyond day 60 or 90?
Yeah.
And I feel bad selling this to you. And I said, don't worry. You don't worry about that. Let me worry about it. I have 30 days. I will launch this in 30 days. It has never been done. I'm like, this will be the first time it's going to happen. So, so I said to him, I will sign this document that I am not going to ask for a refund because the program was set up where it was going to drip, weekly drips. And I said, I don't want that because I don't have time. So
Time.
I want everything. Yeah, I want everything right away. And I will sign something that says that I will not ask for a refund. I'm willingly foregoing the 30-day refund period. As you're a performance coach, one of the best I know, some people really work well when their butt is against the wall and they have no choice.
Yep.
And I was living and breathing all of that, the course for the next 30 days. Whatever pieces needed to fall in place for that to happen happened. And sure enough, 30 days later, I launched my very first telesummit. It was June of 2012.
Wow.
And now, as we are recording this, it is November 2024. And my telesummit has been going on consecutively for all those years and is considered one of the top telesummits on energy healing in the world. I have since produced a docuseries as well on energy healing called Bliss Up, Exploring Energy, the Ultimate Healer, which is on Amazon Prime. And then as Daryl, and I've had wonderful opportunities to meet amazing people from around the world. You, I met through my business as well, and was fortunate enough to have you consult on my business for almost 2 years, or was it a year and a half?
That was like 2.5 years, I think. It was a while.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
while.
Well, and you're one of the most brilliant people I have met, have huge respect for you. And I met amazing other people too from around the world and learned a lot in self-development, in personal development. I was mentored by Chris Atwood, who's the New York Times bestselling co-author of The Passion Test. In my opinion, one of the top coaches of consciousness in the world. I think this will be our 11th year that I have been his mentoring client. 5 years ago, Chris started saying to me, I don't think I have anything left to teach. And I said, but I love having you in my life. I miss it when you're not there. So I keep signing up. But I would be remiss if I said there's nothing left for me to learn. Of course, I still feel I have a lot to learn from Chris. And then in 2019, I moved to Pakistan for a little while and I made some videos for the local market there, for women especially.
Yep.
Being a Muslim woman myself, I've always had a really soft corner for Muslim women. It's always bothered me when I see the oppression of Muslim women. So I made a few videos. And frankly, this is so funny. I think I've shared with you. This is when the lockdown happened.
Mhm.
And my daughters were, of course, older. Natasha was in her 20s.
Mm.
And both of my daughters wanted, if I ever sat down to try to coach them something, to teach them something, it was like, oh God, mom, okay, can we talk about this later, please? Do you have, it's like, they wouldn't even spend 2 minutes with me. And I was thinking, wow, this is like in the real beginning, okay? And I thought, wow, what if I die? What if I die? I have so much that I want to teach my daughters that would be very useful in their lives, but they don't even sit with me. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna record a few videos that I think will be helpful to these women. But really, what I'm trying to do is if I die and my daughters ever need to get advice from their mom, they
Yeah,
would at least have some content that they can go and listen to that, oh, that's
yeah.
how mom thought. And I was making a secret deal with God that if, so this is the deal I made, okay? I said, if God, if I hear, I'm going to make some videos, I'm going to put this content out there, I'm going to do it free of charge. And if I get 10 women to message me within 6 months that my videos were helpful and they created some kind of ease in their lives, then you, God, are bound by this promise to me that you will take care of my daughters if I die. So this was my secret deal with my best friend, right? And God has a great sense of humor. And within, I think it was like within a few weeks, I had like more than 100 million views, literally thousands of messages, forget 10 messages, thousands of messages. I was bombarded with messages. And I realized there's something here. I need to pay attention to what God is showing me the way here.
Yeah, you don't
And
you don't get 100 billion impressions organically and go, that's nothing.
no, I had been a marketer long enough to know that the kind of views and impressions I'm getting, millions of dollars in marketing would not have gotten those results.
Yeah.
So if something is happening organically, that who is it? Victor Hugo who said this, that there's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come.
Mm,
So
mm.
I literally saw that happen. Oh my God, what is this? I was the first couple of times when I got recognized out somewhere on the street or a restaurant, it was terrifying, Daryl. It was terrifying, right? Because we're internet marketers. Yes, I had been interviewing so many amazing people from around the world, but they were mostly audio interviews
Yeah,
done from the comfort
anonymous.
of my home in my PJs. But and I'm an introvert. I guess I'm an ambivert, but for the most part, I'm shy. I'm a recluse. I like my privacy a lot. So I'm out in a restaurant somewhere and somebody just comes up to me, a total stranger, and says, Eram Saeed. And I'm literally like, oh my
Yeah,
God, yes, what did I do? What
yeah,
did I do?
yeah.
And then and then she starts crying and, oh my God, your videos are so helpful. So then, of course, I would cry with her. But in the beginning, it was a terrifying experience.
Just to be recognized.
Yeah.
I don't know who know. That's obviously I don't have hundreds of millions of views, but I have similar. It's weird when you meet someone that's either been getting like your email newsletter. I've got people that have been on my list for 12 years and they know so much about my life. And I'm like, I don't even know your first name. And
Yeah.
yeah. So can you talk about that? Obviously, that sounds like a whirlwind of people that probably are beating down your door now, not even just in person, but even good luck just going on social media to message your friend, like with so many impressions and so much attention. What happens at that point?
It's crazy. You don't know what to do with it because I had been an online marketer, yes, but all of it was based off of email marketing. And there's a certain, of course, there's a methodology to that. There's all the structure and functionality and all of those things and systems and processes. And you follow that like a good little marketer and you know what to expect when you do this. This is what we go off of numbers and we measure everything. And here I was. And I would like to add here that in my tele-summit business, as you very well know, Daryl, one of the things we struggled with was we didn't really have a social media presence. We tried to do
Mm.
it, but then we never really got good at it. So we just gave up too quickly and never got the kind of virality that I got with this brand. This brand was completely on social media.
It
Social
was
media is a
you. It was a
complete,
personal brand. It wasn't your telesummit. It was just here I am. Here's me and who I am.
yeah, here's my coaching. Yeah, in the beginning, there was no coaching. I was just sharing my thoughts
Yeah.
about what I thought about empowerment of women, how I did life, and how to balance life. And my blend is unique because of course, I'm very well versed in the Western spiritual mind sciences, But at the same time, I am also a passionate Muslim, as you know. So I would combine both. There are some things I call the universal principles of truth.
Mm,
And they're the same, no matter which religion, no matter what you're talking, if you're just talking about emotional intelligence, it's all there. It's just that it gets lost because of the language, right? The languaging kind of makes it seem like, oh, here you're talking about emotional intelligence and God is talking about peace or tranquility. And actually, it's the same thing.
yeah.
So this was my gift, if you will, because it was my personal life. That's what I had to do for my own self, how to make sense of both of these worlds that I existed in so that they are like this.
Mm,
And that's what I was sharing with people. And apparently they really loved it. For a couple of years, that's all I did. I just made videos, I connected with people. And of course, the marketer in me is saying, if it's not monetized, then it's just a hobby. And
mm,
how long do you continue doing a hobby? And I figured I really love doing this right now, and it brings me a lot of fulfillment. And I really thought I was doing it as a service to God. So I thought, okay, I'll do it till I enjoy it. And when I don't enjoy it anymore, I will stop.
mm.
But the enjoyment just kept increasing because I kept seeing real need. I think it was about a year and a half into this that I launched a course, my first course in this field to say, okay, here's what I will give it 30 days because I like results fast. I will help you transform your life. And I'm going to pick the toughest examples from that Pakistan, a third world country where women are oppressed, they're not considered equal to men. So I took divorcees and widows. And I figured if somebody has ongoing trauma and past trauma, it's going to be them. So if I can help transform their lives, and if I can do it in 30 days, then I'm going to start selling courses. And we had 100% success rate. It was crazy. And it was funny. This had never happened in Pakistan, okay?
Mm.
Nobody had sold online coaching in Pakistan.
At all.
Nobody at all,
Because
at
they
all.
couldn't do credit cards. Was that there? I think that was it, right? It's
It was also, yeah, one of the problems was the payment, how do you take payment? But also Pakistanis in general. So the Southeast Asian market or the Middle Eastern market, they're now waking up to this idea of self-development and personal development. The West, of course, is now saturated with that, but what was going on back in the early 2000s is what's happening in the Middle East and the Southeast Asian markets. So people, whenever I would talk to people and say, I want to sell these courses, I want to coach people, and they would say, yeah, nobody's going to spend even $30 to buy a course from you. Nobody's going to do that because people. So as a marketer, I'm thinking, okay, if you're the first one in the market, that means you have to train the
Mhm.
audience
Right.
into what you want them to do. So that's how I started. I was told at every step of the way, people are not going to pay you even $30, $30. People are not, then I increased my price. Every time I was told, oh, there is no way that people are going to pay you $100, 500. There is no way. And I just kept testing it. And I would look at, okay, what are other people doing in this particular market? And of course, I didn't want to be seen as a commodity like the rest of them. As long as I was getting very specific results, then basically I had the right to charge
Yeah.
premium pricing. And that also, as you very well know, Daryl, that also sifts through
The tire
the
kickers.
prospect.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the tire kickers who just want a shoulder to cry on. They don't want to do anything about changing their lives. They just want to keep repeating their story. So as you raise your prices, you actually increase the value of who you're going to work with.
Yep.
And at this particular time, the our premium product is $50,000
Hmm.
to work with me, and people are paying it. So it was a brand new industry that I started in Pakistan. Now, of course, my target market are Muslim, young professional Muslim women living in the West. It took me a while, of course, to continue to chip away so we could define the ideal avatar. Not only who is it that gets the most results out of my coaching, but also who is it that I enjoy coaching the most? Who do I really like? What makes my heart sing? And slowly but surely, that person began to become clear.
And so what are some of the biggest challenges that these Muslim women face?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. Because most of our ideal avatar are women living in the West, so most of them are raised, either they're born and raised in the West or they're raised in the West. So the number one challenge they face is that they're typically high performing, high achieving Muslim women. So they're going to be highly educated. I have doctors, scientists, engineers, those kinds of women, lawyers. However, so they've been ticking all these boxes since they were young, and they've been told, if you want to be a good girl, and I call this the Achi Bachi syndrome, which means the good girl, Miss Goody Two Shoes, or good girl syndrome. So if you want to be a good Muslim girl, you're going to get good grades, then you're going to go to a good college, and you're going to get a good degree, then you're going to get a good job or good career. And so they have to do all these things to get this validation and acceptance, but it always eludes them. It's, oh, you've done all of this, but you're not married yet. So until you're married, you're still a failure. So imagine I have this one student, Roma, who's one of my, favorite students. She's a forensic scientist and works for law enforcement in New York. Brilliant girl, amazing, beautiful soul, and a beautiful woman. And when she came to me, she was so confused and conflicted, and she had such huge insecurity about herself because the feedback she was getting from society and her environment was that, yeah, all of this that you have achieved means nothing because you're not married yet. And she's only 30 years old. So it's that conflict that Muslim women face, that do I go and pursue my dreams because I know I'm talented enough, I'm intelligent enough, and I have all these passions. So for Roma, for example, I took her through one of her personality tests and we dug deep. And she was in tears when she realized that her number one passion in life, which makes her excited, is to do something for orphans. And because she was so conflicted with all these other things in her life, she actually wasn't doing anything. And once she realized it with me, next day she started participating in this nonprofit that works with orphan children. So imagine if that was the call from her soul that actually drove everything else for her and she wasn't doing it, of course she was going to be
Yeah,
happy.
what happens when women ignore their inner calling or hesitate? Is that
Anybody, men or women, if you ignore your inner calling, you basically, ambition can only drive you so much. There are going to be such hurdles at times, right? You and I have talked about it. What is your why? What is the main reason why you want to do what you want to do? Even if it's to create $1 million business or 8-figure business, whatever. What is the actual why? Because when life throws you down, when challenges come up, and they will, and you start losing faith in yourself, you're going to start losing steam. What is it that still pushes you? It still drives you. And it's never going to be because I want to drive a shiny new car so I can show off in front of my friends. It could be one of the reasons, but the real why is going to be something that's connected to your soul.
100%?
It's going to,
And it sounds cliche, right? But
it's not though.
it's not cliche, and it's something that it's one of those you gotta see it to believe it type things. Like we can say you gotta find your why, and people are like, oh, well, my why is this, but it's reminds me of another guest, Glenn Livingston. He said he's a market research guy, and he says, I never go into a market until I feel like my soul's been changed by the research, and I find my voice of contrarian reason. And to me, what I'm saying, showing that because he does all this research, all these numbers and stats, but he still doesn't feel like he can succeed until something's clicked inside of him and he's got like a voice that has to get out. And that's where you're talking about the why. Like it's hard to explain, but it really is about finding. I was really shocked. Last year, I discovered that there's an actual spark of life. Did you know this? That when the sperm and the egg meet, there's an actual flash of light. Scientists,
I did not know that.
here,
Wow.
that it releases zinc, but you can see it because it's replicatable. That when life is conceived, there is in the woman's body, there is a flash of light. I was
Wow.
shocked to see that and see footage of that. And it's that spark is like, there really is a fire inside. Like there, people talk about AI and AGI, artificial general intelligence, but until we figure out that spark, it's just going to be a robot following orders. Like that,
Yeah,
that,
that is beautiful. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to go into the woo space a little bit, but we are far more than what meets the eye. We're like, what was it that I think we have tapped into only what, 10% of actual
Yeah.
human brain capacity? So 90% is still untapped. We don't even know what we do and how we do it and what are the different dimensions that maybe we do have access to, but we don't consciously know. How can you replicate what you don't even know yet? So human beings are far more than what meets the eye. And I, for one, I'm not that concerned about AI. I think I have faith in humanity that we'll figure out how to navigate this too.
Well, it's just
There's going to be a lot of,
it's a tool. When tractors came out, they said we wouldn't need farmers. When calculators came out, they said we wouldn't need bookkeepers. When spreadsheets came out, they said we wouldn't need accountants. They've been saying,
yeah.
beating this drum forever. When factories came out, we don't need workers. When what happened is productive people became way more productive, and the people that weren't productive had to go get retrained in something that matched their inner why, their ikigai. They're all tools. And even let's say we do achieve AGI, until humanity just decides to roll over and die, we're going to want to drive the bus. And the bus is just, we've been building and using tools since we just learned to smash things with bones and sticks and rocks. That's all this is. It's as far as I'm concerned, maybe not, but then it would be an extinction level event. And I just don't see people giving up. I think there's always going to be people like we're cyborgs right now. Like everyone who listens is part cyborg because you're listening to our voice via mechanical means that your like native God-given body type thing, right? So it's just not embedded into us, but we're already cyborgs. The cyborgs are here. People realize that. So what specific tools or outcomes are critically important for some of these high performing women to face? Talk about finding their why. What else? What's the next step?
So finding their why is so the first, typically, because I'm talking about women that are suffering from a lot of this patriarchal conditioning. A lot of Muslim women suffer from this to some degree, right? There are messages that they start hearing when they're young girls that, let's say, that the Quran says women are inferior to men, which is not true, but that's what they hear. Quran says that the husband is the ruler of the wife and the wife has to be obedient to the husband. Again, this is not true. It's a false interpretation, but this is what the prevalent interpretation is. So majority of women hear this. So there is this sense of inferiority, or even at a deeper level, that even though I'm a creation of God who's supposed to be all loving and all merciful, somehow he belongs to the boys' club and I am not preferred by my own creator. So this is something very common that Muslim women feel, but they're not, a lot of times they don't even feel confident enough to voice it, or they don't have permission to voice it. So I feel, Daryl, and I don't want to, I am, of course, a believing Muslim. I'm a spiritual person. So I believe having faith or knowing that there is this compassionate, powerful being, but it's very compassionate, has your back. You're not alone. So that's the first step. In my coaching, what I help women to understand, Muslim women, is that whatever you have heard about Islam and Quran, where it's not egalitarian, it's false. So understand that and have the courage to refute the scholars that are saying otherwise. And I give them proof from the Quran, from the tradition of the Prophet, all of those things. I have spent a lot of time educating myself on all this. That's number one. And then the other thing is when I combine the Western mind sciences, it's about so much of what we perceive to be factual is creating our reality. And in order to change your reality, in order to change your external circumstances, you got to work on this. We got to work on your belief systems so that your perception changes. Once your perception is going to change, life is going to show up very differently. So through this, I help them heal past trauma. I help them overcome their fears of the future, which are causing them to have lack of confidence. And because of the conflict I mentioned earlier, where They don't know if it's okay for them to pursue freedom, independence, and all that they can be using their, mind and their talents versus their identity as a Muslim woman. They seem to be in conflict, and I help them resolve that so that it's not in conflict, and they realize that whatever talents actually God has given them, it is their duty now to fulfill them. Like I was just talking to this girl who is a brilliant painter. She paints really well. And so she had been told that she should be a practicing Muslim who is talking about Islam, doing what I do, and that she should not paint. And I said, no, this is my expression. I speak. This is my art. This is how I express. If I was a brilliant painter like you, that's what I would be doing. When you honor the brilliance of your mind, you are honoring the creator of that mind. So
Mhm.
you have to do that. And she was in tears. She's, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. I helped them come into alignment with the fact that their passions and purpose, which is a calling from their soul, is exactly what I'm saying God, Allah, wants from them.
Yep.
And the fact that I'm a Muslim woman, I am a transformational coach. I have created the life of success and independence that they're secretly hoping for, but at the same time, they can see that I am knowledgeable about Quran. I am knowledgeable about God. I'm not somebody with this sneaky Western agenda who's going to try to hijack their religion from them, their faith. Now they can breathe easy and they can say, I can trust her. I
Yeah.
can trust her to be a good Muslim woman and be all that I can be, to be a good Muslim mom also, and all of those things, and still be true to my faith.
Yeah. That's powerful because I think a couple of things. First, Gandhi said, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. To speak to you, talking about how
Yes.
you have to work on yourself. And Jim Rohn's got this great quote: if you will change, the world will change for you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty powerful. I remember when I was a teenager, I felt like there was a lot of stress. I was an orphan, and I felt like there was a lot of bickering in my home, you could say. And I went away for 9 months. I did this program called Katimovic. I got to travel and work around Canada for 9 months. It was like a leadership program. And when I came back, my attitude had changed, my behavior has changed. And what I realized is that the household changed because I gave off a different energy than earlier when I was more, maybe just teenage years too, but lost and confused and all that. That I was the source of a lot of the drama in my own life. And so those are really powerful. And I think whether you're a Muslim woman or even a business owner, it's still the same process of having mindset shifts, working on your, obviously there's specialized knowledge, but mindset shifts and having tangible achievements and milestone steps towards a goal, whether it's developing the skills
Yes.
to achieve it or learning what it takes. What would you say to someone hesitant to take the first step towards their own personal transformation? If they're just, I've got people that depend on me and I've got too many responsibilities or obligations, or I don't know, I'm nervous. What if, yeah, but
Yeah. All of those are totally, I understand. And change is one of the things that the ego hates the most. As fear is false evidence appearing real.
yeah,
So whatever stories you're telling yourself, they appear to be very real to you, but are they really? And that's what I challenge people when they're sometimes in a live interaction with me, and I tell them, okay, what's your worst fear? Give it to me. Tell me what it is. And I help them see how it's just an illusion, because here's the thing, as you very well know, Daryl, our brain is not capable of looking into the future. So our brain is a very sophisticated, very useful algorithm machine. It's going to go off of the files from the past. So those are memories from the past, the experiences we've had from the past. And based on the past experiences, it can make some guesses based on the algorithm, which is a belief system. So it's going to do that. There is no way for you and I to predict the future. We can't. We're not capable of that. So a lot of things what our brain is doing, it's creating these illusions to keep us stuck, to keep us in what we are. And I tell people this. So if there's a, let's say there's a circle, right? The inside the circle is your life. This is your life inside the circle. And you may hate something about your life. You're uncomfortable. You don't like it. And outside the circle is everything that you dream about. Everything that you want is outside the circle. So where are you going to feel the most resistance and fear? At the edge of the circle, right?
Mhm.
Right as you, the closer you get to the edge, the most fear you're going to feel at that time. But once you break free of that, suddenly things you're going to realize a lot of what you were fearing was not even real.
Mhm.
So the job of the ego is to keep you safe. We all human beings crave safety and we like to be in control. And this is one of the ways we use fear to kind of control, but it's really a catch-22 because we hate our present circumstances, but there is comfort, there's familiarity in that comfort.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's very powerful. It creates huge resistance.
And also it creates, it's almost like a rocket ship where it takes more energy. So
Yes.
I do a lot of habit coaching with people, and forming a new habit is something like 10 times the energy as just doing a habit that you already have. So it's a massive output to do something different. And people don't realize how much of what we do is just conditioned routines and habits and regurgitated. Like
Yeah.
if you every day you're leaving a place and so you have to pass someone or a place that makes you uncomfortable, even when you're not passing that place, now you're traveling, you're in a different place, that time of day you'll still have that feeling because of that, the ritual of that every day.
Yeah.
Like you live in 24-hour
Yes.
cycle. And well, we live in more than one cycle, but yeah, there's, so anyways, I love that.
It's so true. And what you were saying, I just want to comment on that, that if you think about the rocket getting out of the Earth's atmosphere and it needs that velocity, right? So that's why I'm such a big believer of coaching.
Mhm.
Coaches, first of all, know, they understand, they recognize how you're going to self-sabotage, how the resistance is going to show up. Number two, you need somebody to not only navigate through those tricks of our own on self-sabotage, but also somebody rooting for you, somebody just saying accountability. What did you do? Did you do this today? Did you do this? Did you? And that sometimes gives you that velocity so that you can break free of that circle. And in my 30 days to transformation, we don't give any outline of the course. I have never given it because I know how the brain works. If I tell them what I'm going to be teaching them and why I'm teaching it, they're going to start sabotaging themselves. So I tell them, you're just going to start feeling the change. And the first 2 weeks are really tough because that's when what I call draining the swamp. Let's first drain the swamp, and then we're going to start putting in some good habits. It's intense, it's community, there's a lot of accountability, and they're just getting pushed forward. They don't even know why I'm asking them to do certain things. And
Right.
30 days later, they're suddenly like, what just happened? Wow, they've built new neural pathways. And it's, yeah, this is how it works. And how do I know this? Because I had to go through it freaking myself in my life. I had to do all of this myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
I
help
know
through
I
it.
have
Help kids
empathy.
through it. I think parenting really teaches a lot and how to teach other people, because we all learn things. And I don't mean to throw shade on anyone, but I always feel bad for the older woman that's got a personal trainer. It's some 19-year-old girl, where I'm like, that girl has no idea. Their body is fresh out of the wrapper. She has no idea if the things she's teaching work or don't work. And
Exactly.
you really learn about how to transfer knowledge and information and get people to grasp things viscerally. I think that's a really powerful thing. I
Yeah,
wanted
I've
to,
had the same trainer for almost 15 years. I am now 53 and he's 6 or 7 years older than me. So we're getting older together.
yeah, yeah,
Appreciating
figured it.
appreciating the limitations we now have. Yeah.
Eram, this has been such a great call. There's so much in this. People may want to listen to it more than once. I know we're coming up on the end of time, and I want to be respectful of your time. Is there anything I haven't asked you yet that I should have asked you?
I don't know if you have asked, I think you asked all great questions. I just want to add here that everything I do, as you very well know, Daryl, I am someone who is always directed by her heart. I have to either love what I do, or I just can't do it. I just can't force myself to. And similarly, I work with people that I really respect, admire, or love working with, and it's always been such a pleasure working with you, seeing what you're doing in your life. I watched while you were becoming a father and how joyful it has been for you and how much you love your daughter. And your her mom. It's been just so joyful to watch all of that change in your life. And if I can say this, I think it has made you a better, more conscientious human being since you became a father, right?
For sure, for sure. I,
Yeah.
I was bored with life beforehand. Since you bring it up, I speak three languages. I climbed Mount Fuji. I traveled the world. I helped people make over
You're
$1 million.
super fit.
I
You're
accomplished,
crazy fit.
yeah,
Yeah.
I accomplished all the goals I want to achieve. So I was really bored. But now that I have kids, it's almost for me, it's like I was winning at checkers and suddenly life became 3D chess. Because now it's not
Hmm.
just about my life, it's about her life and then her kid's life. And I'm all of a sudden your timeline goes, oh, when I'm 60, when I'm 80, to when my daughter's 80, when my grandkids are,
Yeah.
and you just, I don't know. I don't know if you ever, people, I don't think people get it, like what real love is until maybe with a parent. But with your own kids, I just don't know if there's anything more
Well,
to do.
you do everything, you change as a human being. This business, the Jamali Love that I have, it's because I started it because I wanted to record some videos for my daughters if they ever need me. That's how it got started. And that's why I'm so passionate because, as you very well know, I live in the States. I have all the freedoms and independence. I don't need to fight for
Mm,
freedom anymore. I have them. But I'm now, when you get something so precious, you want to share it with others. You want other women to have it. Somebody was asking me when I did the whole rebranding to Jamali Love, that do you want to be a coach to all women? Because I can. That's what the other brand was, the tele-summit brand. Or do you want to restrict yourself to Muslim women? And as a marketer, is that a smart decision? Yes, we all want to find a niche, but at the same time, for me, I know the comfort that Muslim women crave in the West because they feel, first of all, they feel discriminated against and judged for being a Muslim. Since 9/11 changed, things changed a lot. They grew up with that. And they have this love for their faith. They don't want to turn their back, but they also understand that there's a lot of conflict. They don't understand what part is true and what is not. So if I tried to be the woman, the female coach for all women, I don't know if they would feel that level of comfort that they feel with me now, knowing, okay, she's taken her flag, this is who she is, and she's a Muslim woman's coach. So for me, that really drives me. And I feel like I'm a mother to all these women. Like I always say, okay, I'm the older sister or the aunt you wished you had, but you didn't. So here I am. You know, I'll help you. So I think at the core, it's love that drives us in one way, shape, or other. It's love,
100%.
truly.
I heard Wayne Dyer have this talk. He said, love, Allah, God, Buddha,
Yes.
that's that vibration. So if people want to learn more, if they want to take a look, if there are some Muslim men or women listening that want to just check out Jamali Love, the site is JAMALI.LOVE. Jamali Love, JAMALI.LOVE. Did I get that right, Eram? Is there anywhere else they should check out
You
as
did. You absolutely did. And Jamali means beautiful. So beautiful dot love. That's because no message, no divine truth can be without beauty. If it's not beautiful, then it's not divine. So it's as simple as that. So it's beautiful love. And I'm also open to speaking. I'm speaking across different podcasts. So I would just want to drop something here, if I can get just a minute, that one of the most exciting emerging markets in the West happens to be professional Muslim women. We're talking about, all in all, almost a billion women, a billion humans across different continents. But in the Western countries, this is projected to be $1 trillion industry. It is one of the most exciting emerging markets. And if you, like, for example, you, Daryl, if you want to break into that market as a performance coach, as a coach, you need a Muslim to be a bridge. I serve as a bridge also. So at the moment, I am trying to build myself as that channel that gives you access to this market.
mm,
It doesn't exist right now. I have to build it. So right now, so whoever invites me on a podcast, I'm happy to do podcasts or speaking opportunities, speaking from stages. So if you or anyone you know is looking for a Muslim woman coach to speak, I would appreciate that opportunity.
Yes.
And of course, jamali.love, they can find out more about my programs as well.
And even if you're not looking for a Muslim coach, you're just the real deal. I don't know what else to say. You're the real deal. You came from a third world country, you lived the American dream, you built a 7-figure business, you've launched so many people into successful careers. I saw it time and time again, taking people that had all the self-doubt, had all the challenges and obstacles, and through your help were able to be successful and live a life that they thought was only a dream. Like you, yes, if you want to have a Muslim woman coach, you can talk. But if you just want to have someone who can speak from a place of having, this is what she did, contact Eram. Reach out, find her on social media, Eram Saeed, Eram Saeed, Eram Saeed, and go check out jamali.love. Drop her a message. Eram, it's always an honor and a pleasure. We just get along so two peas in a every time.
We do. It's always mind expanding to talk to you. I learned so much when we geek out on the marketing and business aspect of things. You are way smarter than what I can. So I think I usually understand 10% of our conversation. And for me, that's a lot.
Your execution.
One of the smartest people I know.
I don't know. All lies, all lies. I'm just a monkey with a smartphone. Thanks so much. Listeners, go check out jamali.love. And again, it's always an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much, Eram. It has been a blessing.
Thank you, Daryl. Always a pleasure.
Grow with you.
Big hug to Malaya. 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 Malaya.